Hello everyone, my name is Ebenezer Yeboah, and today we are going to learn how to create a simple web form and store its details in our database. And we are going to use HTML for the front end, PHP for the back end, and again, we are going to use MySQL for our database. Thank you, let's get it started. Simple web form, that's a voter form that takes the voter ID as an input, the name, the age, and the nationality as input. But before then, if you don't have XAMPP installed on your machine, you install that because we are going to use that one for PHP. Then again, if you don't have MySQL on your computer, you install one of them because these are the two technologies we are going to use for our project. So if you have all these applications, then start. So let's go to File Explorer. So okay, mine is open already. So let's go back. So when you open File Explorer, you go to Local Disk. Then you click on XAMPP. Then you come to htdocs. Click on that. So you need to create our folder at htdocs. We create our folder that will contain our text. So let's name that folder voter or voters. Let's make it voters. Then save it. Then we need to go back and open VS Code. That's our editor to write our code. Okay. So I open my VS Code. Then we click on File, Open Folder. So when you click on Open Folder, you come to Local Disk. Mine is at Local Disk already. So Local Disk, click on XAMPP, then htdocs. Then you select the folder you created. So we created voters. So let's select that folder. Select it. So now we can create our HTML file to develop our web form. So let's create our HTML file. We have index, sorry, index.html. Okay, so we have this file. Then we create our PHP file too. So let's name it voter form.php. So these are the two files we are going to use to develop our task or our program today. Okay, so let's move back to our HTML file. As usual, so let's set our title to say voter form. Let's give it a heading. Let's say voters registration. So now we need to start to develop our web form. So we have the form, our form. So you see the form, we have the action. So we need to set the action to our PHP file name. So our PHP file name is voterform.php. So we set this into voter form.php. We are going to use the method of post because we don't want our data or information to pass through the URL. So we are going to use the method as post. So now let's start with our label. So we have a label. So our first label is voter ID. So we have the voter ID. Then it takes an input. So input test. Let's name this as voter ID. Then we set it to required. Okay. Then we need to give the label to a name. So let's give the name as voter ID. Okay, now let's copy this and repeat it for all our data. So let's copy it, paste. So we have the name, we just alter them. So the second one is the name. So we have the name, change the name to here to name. Then we have the age. So here to is age. Then we name it as age. Then lastly we have the nationality. Nationality. So let's give it a shortcut of NAT. Then here, let's still give it nationality. Okay. Now we need to create two buttons for our form. So it's a submit button so that when we click on it, it will submit our form to the PHP. So the type is set to submit. Then it has a name. So the name will be the name of our PHP file. So what's the name of our PHP file? Voter form.php. Then let's give it a name. So the name will be, let's say, insect. You can name it anyhow you want. Then another button called so this one we are going to use it to reset our form. So the type is reset. Then let's give it the name of let's say reset still. Then we're going to have the value of reset. Now that we are done with our web form, we need to send our data on the form to our PHP file for processing. So how do we go about that? So we click on your PHP file. Okay, so we have this. So you need to indicate the type of hosting we are going to do. So we are going to do local hosting. So we set our host to local host. Is a local host. Again, what is our username? So by default, our username is set to root. So we use root as our username. Then because we are going to use or we are going to connect our PHP file to our database, we need to have the password of the database. Have the password. So you type in your password here. Then lastly, the database name, the name of your database. You type it in here. So you type that one too in there. So now we need to create our connection to the database. So let's say creating connection. There's just a comment. Creating connection. And there's the syntax. That way to be connection equal to new video. Having MySQL. To host equal to the host. Database name equal to database name. Then we bring our username, then our password. So this is the syntax for establishing our connection. Now we need to create an event handler to cater for any errors occurred during our connection. So if we get any error during our connection, that event handler is going to bring or catch the error, then display it to us. So this how go back that one too. But this one is not compulsory. You can choose to ignore it. So there's the syntax. You have PDO, ATTR, air mode. Then we have the air mode exception. Okay, so that's that one too. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, we forgot to bring our PDO here. So PDO. Okay, so that's that. So now we need to take our input from the voter form. That's the HTML form. We need to collect the input. How do you go by that? Okay, so we say if the server request method is equal to post, then we can retrieve our data. So what are the data? So we have the voter ID, the name, the age, and the nationality. Now let's move to the voter form and check something. So the voter form, we can see that each section has label and input, and each label has a particular name, and the input also has a particular name. So the label name is the name we are going to use on our PHP file or the PHP form. So the label name is going to be the variable we are going to use to store the data from the form. So here we have voter ID. So this is going to be the variable on the PHP file. Then this is going to bring or send the data to the PHP variable. Let's go back. So we have the first one to be voter ID. Should be the same name. To take the name of post, that's voter ID. So we do same for all the other variables. So we have name, gateway's name. We have the age, here to be age. Then lastly, we have the nationality. So we have here to be nat and here to be nationality. You see, for the nationality, we have the variable on the PHP to be nat, and here is nationality. This is because here we give the name as what? Nat, and here is nationality. That's why we are having here to be nat and here to be nationality. Now let's display some information to the user. So we say echo voter information. So now we need to display our information. So we have the voter ID. Then we do same for all the other variables. So that's the name, have the age, then lastly we have the nationality. That's not. So now that we are done, let's try to insert our data to our database. So what is the syntax? So there is the syntax. Go by that. So we have the STMT connection prepare. Then bring your syntax. Insert into. Then you bring your table name. So insert into, what is our table name? So our table name is voter. Voter. Then we assign our columns. So we have the column to be voter ID. We have the name. We have the age. Then we have the nationality. And you should take note. This name should be the exact name at your database. So if you mix the name, meaning we are going to get error. So it should be the exact name of your database. Okay. We have the values. Give them a placeholder. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Separate them by comma. Okay. So now we are done. We need to execute our information on the PHP file. So when we take the name, these are the information you are passing to the database. So we need to execute. So this is the syntax.
Okay, so now let's display something to the user. So if we are able to insert, we display something to the user. So we say echo voter form successfully inserted. Then after we can go ahead and create our database. But if you have already created your database, you can just try to insert it. Okay, let's go and create our database.
And open it. Okay. I have a full course on creating database. So this I'm going to go quick. If you don't know how to create a database, go and watch that video. Okay. So my database name is voter form. So I'm now creating my table. So my table name is voter. Okay, so let's look at something here. So you see the voter, that's the table name, is the same table name I type in my code. That's the table name. You see, insert into that's voter. And the voter ID, the name, the age, nationality is the same name I'm using as the column name here. That's voter ID, name, age, nationality. So if you mix out, it means you're going to get error. Okay, so meaning my table has been created. We need to type in our credentials, the PHP forms. So we have the password. So you type in your password. Then the database name, use voter form. Then you save it. Now you can preview this in any web browser. But before then, we need to make sure that Apache is at start. So let's go to XAMPP. Okay, so mine is already at start. So if yours is not at start, you click on the start. That's Apache. So we click on start. Then you come to our web browser. We have a local host. That here to be voters. We have it here. Okay, so we have our form previewed to us, but we can make it a build lines. Okay, so let's make it in block or vertical. So let's go to back to our code. Then, but we can add CSS to beautify it. So you can do that one. Okay. Okay. Let's save it and check. Okay, so it is a little attractive. Now let's try to insert some values into our database and see if it works peacefully. So my voter ID is 1, name Ebenezer Eboa, age 30, nationality Ghanaian. Okay, let me try to insert this. Okay, so I'm having some error at line 28. Let's go and fix that. Line 28. Okay, I did not terminate this. Let's terminate it and save it. Let's move back to our code. Let's see. Okay, so we have voter form successfully. Is that what I type? There's no inserted successfully. Okay, so voter form inserted. Let's edit it. Voter form inserted successfully. Let's save it. Why? Are we get? Oh, okay. So it is trying to save again these details again. That's why we are getting this error. Okay, that's the ID one is trying to repeat itself. Okay, so we can try another. Let's say voter ID 2. We have Emmanuel of age. Let's say 35. Nationality. Let's leave it as Ghanaian. Let's try to insert this one. Okay, so we have voter form inserted successfully. Now let's go to our database and check if this insertion is actually done. Okay, it says select from, what is our table name? Voter. Let's see. Okay, so we can see that the data is inserted in our database. We have voter ID 1, it is everyone, then ID 2, manual. So that's that. It's a common way to insert data into your database. Now, we have some errors that we need to catch. That's why we bring this attribute that says attribute video error mode. Okay, how do you go about this? But if you don't want to add it, you can just ignore. But maybe during your connection, you can get some error. But if you don't bring this, try and catch method, you're going to find it difficult to get that information or know where the problem is coming from. So we have here to be try. This is around our code with try. Then you come here to catch it. Let me end this. I have my catch here. Sorry. I have my catch. I have here to be PDO exception. That's the exception. So you need to keep the syntax. Okay, then what do we display if we catch the error? So let's display connection failed. Connection failed. And we need to tell the user the particular problem that leads to the failure of the connection. So we need to get that message and print it back to the user. Say get message. I terminate it. So that's that. Let's save this. Now let's try to alter our connection and see if we are going to get any error. So instead of a database name to be voter form, let's make it just form. Let's save this and go back and preview and see. So let me try to insert third person. Gabriel, age of 20. Let's say Ghanaian. And let me try to insert it. You see, connection failed. Then the error has been thrown to us unknown database form. See, okay, so that's how you can go about this. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more videos.